Chapter 17, The Child. These past 2 days, Qishan had been back, and had not left Du Rua's side for even an inch, while Qi's parents had called the military family hospital to prepare, waiting for the birth of the 3 babies. Du Rua seemed to not notice the tense atmosphere in the house, and was still resting as usual. After breakfast, she and Qishan played Go in the study. Suddenly, she felt something wet under her body, a slight sting, touching her belly. Babies, the children are finally coming out. Qishan felt that Du Rua was different. He immediately raised his head. What's wrong? Babies are kicking you again? For many days, the babies were moving very frequently, always making her unable to sit still. She smiled happily at her husband, just about to speak, but unexpectedly, what came out was a low groan. Qishan's hand trembled. He stood up abruptly, sweeping the entire chessboard down. The Go flags fell to the ground, but he didn't have time to care about this. His voice was urgent as he asked, "Want to give birth?" His face suddenly started to turn pale. The answer he got was still a suppressed groan. He seemed to have been stabbed, regained his senses, ran to the door, then hurriedly turned back to firmly carry her out. "Don't be hasty. There's still a while left to give birth." She looked at the man who was so nervous that she didn't know what to do. She could only endure the pain of giving birth, and comfort him. The truth was, even though Qishan was a soldier, known as a man among men, at this point, he was nothing more than an ordinary husband. Hearing her comfort him, he couldn't help but calm down. He walked steadily down the stairs while shouting to his parents downstairs, "Mom, hurry. Rua wants to give birth." Downstairs, his grandfather and parents were sitting on the sofa chatting. Suddenly, they heard his shout and immediately became a mess. "Ah. What should I do now? Cough cough, I forgot too." "Alright, can only say that they are indeed a family." Both father and son were scared out of their wits. Normally the commander of the military region was calm. At this moment it was like an elementary school student who forgot to do the homework assigned by the teacher, anxious to the point of stomping his feet. Fortunately, Mother Qi calmed down at the crucial moment, and assigned the task to Grandpa and Father Qi. The driver drove, took this and that, and made a phone call. By the time Du Rua was taken to the hospital, the doctor and nurse were already waiting outside. The person who just arrived was taken to the prearranged delivery room. Qishan was nervously pacing back and forth outside. "Mom, why is there no sound? Didn't they say that pregnant women would scream loudly when giving birth?" Mother Qi also did not know what the situation was, did not know how to answer. Qishan was bored and ruffled his hair, waiting outside the door, pacing back and forth, even lying down and looking through the crack of the door, intending to use his extremely good eyesight to see if he could see his wife. Suddenly a nurse came out. Everyone quickly moved forward. Mother Qi still remembered her son's problem just now. Without waiting for him to speak, she asked, "Why can't we hear my daughter-in-law's voice? It's not yet time to give birth, and pregnant women know how to conserve their energy, so there's no problem." What the female nurse said was true. Even the doctors inside said that they had never seen such a good pregnant woman. Her birth canal and amniotic fluid were so good. All of these proved that this pregnant woman knew how to take care of her body. After Qishan heard the nurse's words, he did not let go of his high-hanging heart. His eyes were always fixed on the door of the delivery room, not even knowing that Xiang Xing and the others had arrived. "Auntie." Xiang Xing and the others were originally going to Qishan's house, but who would have thought that Aunt Li would inform them that Du Rua's water broke this morning and had been taken to the hospital. After hearing this, the 3 of them hurriedly went to the hospital. Mother Qi's heart was also in the delivery room, smiling at them. "You guys are here? How is it now?" Yao Yu asked with concern. "Not born yet. Just came in an hour ago." Mother Qi answered weakly, her left hand tightly holding her right hand. Her previously undisturbed hair now looked messy and disheveled. Xiang Xing and Yao Yu glanced at each other, secretly tongue-tied. Such a long time and still said it was just now? No matter how worried and nervous the people outside were, Du Rua seemed relatively relaxed in the delivery room. She felt each wave of labor pain. There was acupuncture, although it could not completely relieve the pain of childbirth. It could at least reduce 5 or 6 parts of the pain. However, although she had already forgotten about her previous life, she still wanted to feel all the feelings of giving birth to a child. These pains were not a form of torture to her. Slowly, the labor pains became more and more frequent, her face was soon covered in sweat from the pain. Suddenly, she couldn't help but let out a loud groan. "Oh, so fast?" A doctor heard it, immediately put down the matter in her hand, went forward to examine, regardless of the surprise, started to prepare to deliver the baby. The birth canal was already 10 centimeters dilated. Outside the door, Qishan heard that groaning sound, his whole body tensed up. He wanted to go in, but was tightly held by Chinyen and Qi father. Qi mother scolded, "If you go in now, if you cause Rua to catch a cold, I will punish you." Qishan was scared, so he had to compromise, and leaned against the door again, at least that way he was a little closer to her. A little closer, maybe he could still hear some sounds. "Use strength." "Very good." "That's it," the doctor beside her kept shouting. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart, this was the best birth she had ever received. Wah. A loud cry rang out, and the baby was immediately carried away by the nurse. Wah. The remaining 2 babies all came out. Rua felt her body loosen, she was extremely tired, she held her spirit, propped herself up and looked at the doctor. The doctor tacitly said, "The 3 little ones are really healthy, the eldest and third are boys, the second is a girl." She smiled happily, being healthy was good. The doctor turned her head and looked at the 3 little ones in the nurse's arms. Not only were they healthy, she also didn't know what pregnant women ate. Every little one was born with many wrinkles. She was the opposite. She gave birth to 3 little ones. All 3 little ones were white and soft. TSK, they were truly little angels. Staying in the delivery room to observe for nearly an hour, the doctor waved her hand. "Hurry up and take it out, the family outside is also waiting impatiently." From the moment the baby was born, Qishan's whole family had heard it. Grandpa and father both raised their eyebrows happily, hearing the sound. There was definitely no mistake, it was definitely a little boy, a healthy little boy. The delivery room door opened, everyone rushed forward at the same time. 3 nurses carried the 3 babies out. "Doctor, how is my wife?" Qishan saw the doctor, quickly ran to greet her, just short of holding on to the female doctor. "Madam Qi is tired and is sleeping." The doctor leaned over and motioned to move the hospital bed inside. "Congratulations to the former chief, you have 3 great-grandchildren." This doctor obviously knew the Qi family and quickly congratulated Grandpa Qi. Grandpa Qi and Father Qi heard that their granddaughter-in-law was fine, and had already surrounded the 3 little ones with Xiang Xing, not knowing or hearing the doctor's congratulatory words. "Sorry, Fong. Thank you this time." Although Mother Qi also wanted to hug her granddaughter, she still thanked her old classmate. After all, she helped her daughter-in-law deliver the baby. "No need to thank. To be honest, I didn't help at all. Your daughter-in-law, does she understand medicine a little?" The doctor named Fong quickly waved her hand, asking with some curiosity, really being able to take care of herself so well, not having any talent was really impossible. "A little." Mother Qi smiled and nodded, her eyes occasionally glancing at the little one. The doctor smiled and tactfully let her old classmate hug her grandson. "How do you feel?" Qishan had always been guarding Rua's bedside. Seeing her awake, he quickly took the pillow behind her back and helped her sit up, anxiously asking. She smiled and shook her head, looking at him. Seeing the other party's eyes were very tense, uneasy, calm, and then filled with a smile of happiness, the 2 of them looked at each other. He couldn't help but kiss her forehead and let out a low laugh. "Wife, thank you." Such infatuation made her laugh out loud, this man, ah. However, she didn't argue back, lightly, a sound, immediately looked around a bit. "Where is the child?" He laughed and said, "Grandpa and parents are worried that the child is crying loudly to you, they are next door." He remembered those 3 soft white children, happily curled his lips, ha. "What's wrong? Why does he look so stupid?" She looked at him who was laughing out loud for no reason. Ha. He saw her looking at him suspiciously, and laughed even louder. Just now, Chen Yan saw the three children, was jealous, and carried Yao Yuyu out, heard that they went to register at the Civil Affairs Bureau. She opened her eyes wide, and the laughter in the depths of her eyes could not be hidden. Haha, he proudly puffed out his chest and sighed, didn't think that our newly born sons and daughter would be considered matchmakers. This is a good thing. She gently patted him, hurry up and bring the child here, let me see. His beloved wife gave orders, and he immediately went to work. He stood up fluently, and did not go out, but stood outside the door and called for the nurse to help him go to the next door to call someone. The elder of the Qi family, upon hearing that the great hero in the house had woken up, quickly carried the three treasures who were sleeping soundly on the small bed to see their mother. Ruwa, this is a daughter. Mother Qi carefully handed the granddaughter in her arms to her daughter-in-law, the joy in her eyes could not be hidden. Then she handed the eldest grandson in Grandpa Qi's arms to her son, asked him to hold him, and personally accepted the little grandson in her husband's arms. After mother finished demonstrating, Qixing used his big hand to support his son's small butt and small body, lowered his head to look at the little boy in his arms smacking his little mouth, and couldn't help but smile innocently. Ruwa hugged her daughter, then looked at the eldest and third, their heads were round and full, taking off their feet and hands, they were really small. Looking at the child beside her husband, her eyes suddenly became hot, almost couldn't help but shed tears, suddenly felt that this was the moment she felt happiest. What's wrong? Could it be that she wasn't feeling well? Qixin always paid attention to his wife, seeing her eyes red, tears about to fall. He immediately asked nervously. Laughing and shaking her head, could it be that she was suddenly emotional and couldn't help but want to cry? Mother Qi was a woman, obviously knowing her daughter-in-law's thoughts, smiling and holding her hand. I heard the old man say, during confinement you can't just casually shed tears. Towards her daughter-in-law, Mother Qi was truly loving, especially when she gave her 3 more grandchildren. In the entire military compound, she was the only one like that. Have you named them yet? Ruwa didn't know that his eyes were filled with affection as he looked towards Qixin. He immediately felt like there was a little cat scratching him, extremely itchy. He couldn't answer for a moment. No. Grandpa Qi and Father Qi sat on the sofa. Hearing Ruwa ask for the name, they immediately interrupted to answer. At the last minute they still did not forget to give Father Qi a glance. It was all this brat, even the name was competing with himself. Humph. Father Qi was indifferently given a glance by his father. His son's name was already given to him. This grandson was now his turn. Thinking of the 3 adorable children, his heart became a bit more determined. No matter what was said, he would not give in. Feeling somewhat understanding, Ruwa and Mother Qi looked at each other and smiled. After all, they were people with plans in mind. They did not worry about naming. Normally, on the outside, they all had a serious and resolute face. Now, because of the competition to name the child, their faces and ears were red. Ruwa lowered her head to look at the 3 little ones. She kissed this one, then that one, the corners of her mouth always curling up in happiness. Little ones, our family must always be happy like this.